So this is Level Up Your Operation with Automation. I am your hostess. Someone's asking if is this an open bar event? Hey, I'm not the boss of you. Go for it. I'm your hostess, Niki Acosta, and I am joined today by two specialists, as well as Anna and TJ, who are hiding out and moderating the Q&A for us today. Next slide. So my obligatory about Skimmer slide. I'm the director of marketing at Skimmer. I've been here about 2.5 years, and what a wild ride it's been. We are on a mission here to help you as pool service and repair professionals build great businesses. And we do that through software support and by content like this, by giving you everything you need to know to be better in the field, to be better business people, and to make more money. We've got 30,000 plus users now, servicing over 942,000 pools primarily in the US. And so if you are interested in Skimmer, we'll have an offer for you at the end. I'm going to introduce my panelists, or let them introduce themselves. First, Rodney and Jeff, you're up.
Thanks, Niki. I appreciate it. We're happy to be here. Thank you for inviting us. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk to your customers. I've been in the swimming pool business for 22. Well, I've been with Pentair for 22 years and spent my whole life in the swimming pool industry, from lifeguarding to cleaning pools to now a product manager at Pentair for our automation. So really excited again to be here today, and I'll let Jeff introduce himself as well.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Jeff Verplaetse from Minnesota. I have been in and out of the pool industry since 1996. Been a long time. Somehow it keeps sucking me back in. As you know, once you get your feet wet, pun intended, in this industry, it tends to hold on to you. And it's a unique set of skills that we have in this industry that keep us connected to our customers and keep putting money in our own pockets. So I've done pretty much everything in this industry, from managing service departments to managing construction departments to selling hot tubs on a show floor. And now I get to work for Pentair, which is an amazing company to work for. I've been with Pentair for 6 years now, and I am an application specialist, which lets me kind of specialize in a lot of things, but my passion always has been automation. And it's really fun to be a part of such a company that allows automation to thrive like this. So,
and if you stay to the end, we're going to give you direct line phone numbers, both home and cell, for both of these awesome presenters. Just kidding. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we are going to talk about the importance of automation for the modern pool owner. We're going to talk about the automation solutions that are available from Pentair. We're going to discuss how to leverage the IntelliCenter upgrade kits to grow your business. And we'll give you an unboxing and a technical introduction to the parts and installation. But before we get started, let's go ahead and launch a poll and get an audience pulse check here. We'll give you a few seconds to answer. We just kind of want to gauge where you're at. But how familiar are you with pool automation? Let us know.
I think I can only give one answer to that question, being the product manager for automation. So I think you know my answer, Niki. And an interesting thing, there is quite a contrast from the Southern guy to the guy from Minneapolis. I don't know if any of your callers recognize the regional difference in our accents, but hope you can still understand me.
I could thicken up my Minnesota accent for you if you want, Rodney.
Well, I can't do a Minnesota accent, that's for sure.
So it looks like over half of our audience is somewhat familiar. About 40% are very familiar, and we've got about 8% that are not at all familiar. So a pretty good mix of people. We do already have a question about starting with the primary reasons for automation versus traditional basic timers. I'll let you all work that in when you see fit. But let's go ahead and get rolling. And Jeff, I believe we're turning this over to you.
Well, I think
Just kidding. It's Rodney.
Yeah. So I'm going to start today with a little history on automation. Pentair has been the leader in automation for a long time, and it was really all to simplify pool control. So once upon a time, like all good stories, once upon a time, long ago, Tom Pool, a company which was acquired by Pentair, was one of the first forms of pool automation. And automation really took off when builders started building pool spa combos, because someone came up with the idea that you could use one set of equipment to operate both the pool and the spa. And you can probably guess why if you ever got a call from a customer that went like this. Ring, ring. Hello, Rodney's Pool Service. Rodney, I got a problem with my pool. We were up late last night and I was using the spa, and this morning the spa is completely empty and there's a weird noise coming from the pool equipment and it smells something like plastic burning. Oh, and we have a pool party this weekend, so come out as soon as you can. I don't know if you've noticed it in years in the industry. Our customers have a lot of pool parties, and it is an emergency. Well, all right. Okay, Mr. Jones, turn off the pump. I'll come out and check it out. If that sounds familiar, then you're probably as old as I am, because you can remember a time before pool automation. Well, the problem that automation solved was that pool owners had pool spa combos, and they would get confused when they were manually turning their Pool or Ortega, if you're really old, valves to go from pool mode to spa mode, and they would end up draining their spas into their pools. The pump would run dry, the basket would melt. Bad news, right? The other thing that would happen is they would be heating their pool when they thought they were heating their spa. So their spa would never heat up, and you'd get the call, my spa's not heating up, and they just had the valves turned the wrong way. Automation solved all that. It made it less complicated for pool spa combos. You want to go to spa mode, you hit the spa mode button. You want to go to pool mode, you hit the pool mode button. Problem solved. Even today on automation, our automation is mostly sold on pool spa combos. But the reality is, if you'll go to the next slide, the reality is, actually, I think we can stay here. The reality is automation creates a better experience for all pool owners. Automation is not limited to pool spa combos. It also creates a better experience for single body of water standalone pools. The complexity of pool management is sometimes overwhelming to the homeowner, and our automation solutions create a simpler, more convenient way to handle pool operations like heating and lighting, for example. Pool owners can now control their pools, like the functions of heating and lighting, using something they're familiar with, their smartphone. So today, we use our smartphones for everything, for email, the air conditioning thermostat, video cameras on doorbells, garage door openers. Some of you probably have indoor lighting on that you can control from your phone, or outdoor lighting. And it only makes sense that our customers would want that convenience for their pools. So in the Pentair Home app, we've made it easy to set schedules, much like they're using across their other apps, whether it's programming lights to turn on at sunset, or adjusting the color of their lighting in their pool. All that through touch of a button. It makes it really easy. And we found that pool owners are mostly scared to touch their pool equipment, to engage with their pool equipment, because they're afraid doing that is they're going to do something wrong. So, I mean, it's a large investment and they're afraid of it. The automation technology alleviates some of those concerns because we've built in logic designed to prevent misuse and safeguard against most potential damages to the equipment. Now, as you know, sometimes homeowners take it on their own and they will go in and inadvertently maybe change system settings. And then you get the phone call that my pump all of a sudden is loud because they cranked up the RPMs on the pump, or the waterfall is now, when they turn it on, the lights don't come on with the waterfall. Well, there's an interesting thing about IntelliCenter that we built in to help you out with those problems. It's really cool. So after you do your initial programming, you can record that setup using a USB stick. So you can put the USB stick into the IntelliCenter and then download all of the programming. So if you find out that a customer's been monkeying around with the system, they can use that USB, if you leave that USB with them, to restore the original programming that you originally set up. So it saves you a trip to visit that client. Automation, the second point here, it's good for your business. Remote monitoring is really cool. And it's not just for the pool owner. Let's talk about how Pentair automation can benefit your business. Imagine being able to monitor your customer's pool remotely. With a connected pool, you can access error codes, you can check the system and see if they have changed the pump schedules. You can go in and just look at all that without actually having to be on the job site, without having to leave your office. You can even adjust the settings right from your remote monitoring dashboard. You can tell your customer, yes, when I'm servicing your pool once a week, but once I automate your pool, I will always be in touch with what is happening at your pool. Going one step further, if you were to add a water quality monitoring system and sanitizer like IntelliChem, you can maintain consistent sanitization levels even when there is an extreme weather emergency or pool party, even when you're not at the job site. The great thing about remote monitoring, it keeps you informed about your customer's pool. You can choose to get notifications via email or text whenever the equipment malfunctions, or maybe you were at the job site, you turn the pump off, you service the pool, and if you forgot to turn it back on, remote monitoring lets you check the system without having to go back to the house. So it offers you some peace of mind. I think we want to talk about next is the Pentair automation family of products. You might think maybe, my customers can't afford automation, but with Pentair, there are plenty of automation or options to automate a swimming pool. Let's start off in the bottom right-hand corner, IntelliFlow 3. There's an opportunity to automate when you replace the pump. IntelliFlow 3 connects to the internet, and it can be monitored through the Pentair Pro app. You can even purchase an optional relay card for the IF3 that controls 2 pieces of equipment. So those 2 relays can turn off anything from, say, a pool light, or you could hook a heater up to it and turn just the heater on and off, or a salt chlorinator generator on and off. For a little bit more control, we have IntelliConnect, which is still, if you're not replacing the pump, a good opportunity to upgrade any single body of water swimming pool. It has 2 relays where you can control cleaner, booster pump or color lighting, but it takes it a step further with digital control of Pentair variable speed pumps and the IntelliChlor salt chlorine generator. And you can even hook up a heater, and the customer would have the ability to control the water temperature through their app for the heater. Moving up to the top left-hand corner, the IntelliCenter. IntelliCenter is our flagship automation center. It is super rich in technology. One of the latest functionalities, I have to talk about this, that we've added through our app, which is really great for short-term rentals, is a feature which allows property owners to invite a guest and choose what they control, what that guest can control, and what they can't control. For instance, if you want to give the guest access to lights, but not the heater, you can do that through the app. So really neat for your short-term rentals, to invite guests for operating the equipment when maybe you don't want to to change the water temperature, or maybe you do. Bottom left corner of your screen, you're seeing the IntelliCenter Lite, a brand new product for IntelliCenter in a smaller box. We've had IntelliCenter Lite for a couple years. This is the new IntelliCenter Lite. It is a little bit smaller. That system doesn't have breakers or space for breakers. Your IntelliCenter has a space for breakers. This is good for situations, maybe renovations, where there's already electricity run to the equipment pad. That's an awesome opportunity to upgrade that customer to automation and then remote monitor their swimming pool. And then maybe the customer already has Pentair automation. Maybe it's Easy Touch or IntelliTouch. A really nice option for those customers is our IntelliCenter upgrade kit. And what the upgrade kit, and Jeff is going to talk to this in a minute, the upgrade kit allows you to take an Easy Touch customer, take out the guts, replace it with an IntelliCenter upgrade kit. And that is a huge opportunity. There's more than 500,000 automation upgrade opportunities out there for this IntelliCenter upgrade kit. So really exciting product line. Jeff, I'll turn it over to you to talk a little bit more about some of those opportunities.
Hey guys. Yeah, thanks, Rodney. Very good job. The upgrade kits. This is a huge opportunity for service companies. I think one of the biggest opportunities for money making right now that Pentair has to offer you is upgrading this old automation into the latest and greatest. There's a couple categories that customers fall into that make them options for an upgrade. You have that first customer, which is they just want the latest and greatest. They're tech enthusiasts. Those ones are my favorites because all you really have to do is point out to them that we have a better model of this. The IntelliTouch and the Easy Touch, some of these systems could be 20 years old. And when you think about it in that light, how many cell phone replacements have you had in the last 10 years? Most people would say 3 to 4. And that's just a cell phone. Now you're talking about the automation at their house for their pool. And in most circumstances, it's controlling the whole backyard. It's controlling the landscape lights. It's controlling sometimes Christmas lights. I know up here in Minnesota, people plug their Christmas lights into an outlet that's controlled by it, and they set them on with a timer. So stuff like that. The other big selling point is that the navigation of the IntelliCenter is just far superior than the Easy Touch and especially the old IntelliTouch, which is a little bit more antiquated. Both those systems could almost launch a spaceship, but they were a little harder to navigate than the nice intuitive color touchscreen that the IntelliCenter brings to the party. So the tech enthusiasts, all you really have to do is point it out to them that there's a better option for this. There's a better mousetrap, and a lot of times they'll bite on that. The next category is just systems without screen logic. They've never had the phone app, but they've had the automation where they walk out to the panel. Sometimes they have an indoor control panel. Sometimes they have a wireless control panel, things like that. Now they get the phone control. Now they have the option for remote monitoring, which is very, very huge. I know Rodney was talking about that for a while, but remote monitoring in this industry just makes us so much better at our jobs from our desk. Reducing trips out to customers' houses, making sure that we're on top of matters. So that's a really easy sale, because let's say they wanted to upgrade to a phone app and they wanted to keep their automation system. At this point in the game, it would be as expensive, if not more expensive, to go with screen logic over upgrading their system. And we'll get to why a little bit later, but I'll hint that we got some really amazing rebates that you might already know about out there for the upgrade kits right now that make it more affordable to go with our new technology than to embrace our old technology. The other category is failure replacements. Power surges can take out low voltage circuitry pretty easily. It's funny how people have $500 surge protectors on their $200 TV, but they have no surge protection on their $10,000 worth of pool equipment in their backyard. And sometimes God likes to help us out with sales by throwing lightning bolts. And most of the time I'm okay with that. And that's a prime opportunity to say, hey, listen, they don't make that model of circuit board anymore. So we're going to have to upgrade you to the latest and greatest. Lucky for you, there is a rebate through December. So that's kind of nice. I call that God giving us sales. And that's probably the easiest way to sell an upgrade kit, is when something failed or just otherwise broke. So that's kind of the three categories that I come up with for customers that need this upgrade kit.
And if you are wondering what your customers have on site and you are a Skimmer user, we make it really easy for you to be able to keep track of the equipment that is on site. So on the left there, every customer profile, and you can do this on the web or on a mobile phone, you will have an area called customer equipment. And if you select that, there are categories. So you'd connect the control system, and then you would go to Pentair. We've got all the models of Pentair there. And then you get an area to write notes. So if you want to put warranty information, your installation date, your serial numbers, instructions for use, usernames and passwords, whatever you need to store there will be available no matter where you are. On the right-hand side, that is what the equipment list will look like. And of course, you can double click on those to get the notes. And then you can also store photos. And this is a really great feature for being able to direct a customer if you are not anywhere near their home or don't want to make a special trip out to their home and someone calls you and you don't remember what's out there. Well, you can have photos of the equipment pad and all the equipment on site. And you can also add captions there with model numbers, with installation dates, same as the equipment list. So we just want to give you easy ways to be able to access the equipment information on site and to be able to troubleshoot issues and save you a trip if at all possible.
This is Anna with a question really quick while we're talking about equipment. One of the biggest issues we see in our area is customers having various brands installed on a pad and in a pool. What compatibility does Pentair automation allow, say, with other brand lights or salt systems, etc.?
So in that regard, when you're trying to adapt other manufacturers to the IntelliCenter, we can do pretty much anything with a switch. We can flick switches with the best of them, is one thing we like to say in the field. So as long as the unit can be controlled with a switch, which most pumps have a digital input option to them, we can control different speeds of other manufacturer's pump. We can control any heater on the market via fireman switch. The salt cells and stuff like that, we can gain them flow dependency through our filter pump relay. And another cool thing about the IntelliCenter, a lot of people don't know, is that any relay in the panel can be called a chem function. So we can set it up for a chem function on it, which gains anything flow dependency. So UV light, salt cell, or any chemical feeder, we can give it flow dependency just by wiring it in and naming the function chemical, which is kind of cool. Does that answer your question? Any follow-ups?
That answers it. Thank you.
Okay. Looks like I'm back up here. So I got to tell you, that previous slide showing all the different things on a particular pool for a customer, I got to say, I wish I had that when I was managing a service company. That is very impressive. We used to have file cabinets that we had to go to for this kind of information, and we would dig it out, and we would spend a lot of time to have this up from your phone or your computer. Boy, is that time saving. The most expensive thing to us when I used to run a service company was sending somebody out for a peek-see poo. We didn't know what was out there, and we would just say, you know what, go take a peek, see what's going on, see what kind of pump they have, and then we'll make a decision on what to bring out there to replace it with. So knowing what's on the pad before you get there, boy, does that make you efficient. So that is absolutely cool. I love seeing this, how you guys lay that out with all the different Pentair models and everything in there. That is very impressive.
I think
So documenting the equipment, yeah, that is absolutely number one. For if you're trying to take an upgrade kit and you want to market your customers, knowing what's there makes it so you don't have to go there. I had a company this last fall that advertised, they put a quote on every single winterizing ticket. I don't know if anybody's from the Great White North like me, but we have to shut down our pools around October or they start to freeze over. So on these winterizing tickets, they would put a quote for upgrading any old automation they saw. And they did this almost 200 times this last winter. It was impressive. And so far, they've gotten like 15 or so saying do it before December because of the rebate. And I thought that was pretty cool because each one of these upgrade kits that they install, they told me that on average they make between $1,000 and $1,200 an hour because they can do them in under an hour, and the markup that they put on it plus their time, they're making about 1,000, just call it $1,000 an hour. What else in our industry can you do that makes you $1,000 an hour? That's a pretty good stat. So just looking at what you can do in the off season, with Skimmer, knowing which equipment is on which pad really makes it easy for you guys to target these guys with quotes on the upgrade kit. I had another company that is doing a massive email marketing campaign where at the winterizing, they noted that they had an IntelliTouch or an Easy Touch, and they took notes on everything that they needed for these upgrades. And they're going to send emails to every single one of their customers and see who bites. So being in the backyard, I've said this for years. If you're in the backyard of the customer, you are the number one salesman. You are a salesman. Sometimes we don't feel like salesmen when our clothes are stained with chlorine and stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you, you are the number one salesman for that company because you have the whole pool in front of your eyes. Not every time is the customer there. If they're there, it's much easier. But relaying this information back can make you guys so much more profitable. So,
and Jeff,
so,
it's a numbers game, isn't it?
correct.
Just getting these little, and Anna, I believe what we're showing here in the right bottom hand corner, these tools that we're showing, they're free. They are.
That's right.
Yeah. So, it is a numbers game. And so many times I've been on a job site with IntelliFlow when we're selling IntelliFlows, and the homeowner says, gosh, I would have done this a long time ago had I known about it. And so I think you just have to get the word out.
Speaking of getting the word out, if you are using Skimmer, there's a really, really cool feature that you can use for all kinds of things called tags. And basically what this allows you to do is if you go into every one of your Skimmer profiles, you'll see this area that says tags. You can bulk edit these or you can add them individually, but it allows you to be able to send a broadcast email to everyone with a particular tag. So I'll give you a real life example. There's a pro out in Phoenix, and he services about 250 pools. And every April, he has every one of his customers that has a single speed pump for the last 2 years, he has them tagged with single speed pump. And so every April, he sends out a blast email using information that's provided by the manufacturer that says, special offer, take advantage of preseason savings for a variable speed pump. Here's all the great benefits. He copied and pasted those from the manufacturer, energy savings, whatever else. And then he was able to target those with a Skimmer broadcast email. And the first time he did this, he got 8 orders, 8 requests for a quote to move forward with variable speed pumps. So to the point of that Rodney just made, you don't ever want to assume that this is not something your customer wants. Like, it is your job, right, to educate your customers. And I think they would probably find value in knowing that their pool professional wants them to have the latest and greatest tech. It may not seem like, a big deal, or it may seem like it's, something that might be super expensive or out of range. We could make a million excuses, but to Rodney's point, if you don't ask, you won't know. And certainly taking advantage of this in off season, i.e. now and before next spring, it's a really good time to be able to approach your customers and let them know of the latest and greatest tech that may be available to them. I mean, I'm in Austin. We have a ton of tech people here. I can't think of many pool owners here that wouldn't want this kind of capability on their cell phone to be able to control their equipment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And you've written all the stuff for them, right? You in your sales kit, you have all of the copy for the email that they would need to use. All you got to do is copy and paste it.
Very easy. And that, that brings us to remote monitoring, which is something I'm very passionate about. There's if anybody remembers back in the day with Screen Logic, we still a thing. We still have a remote monitoring for all your Screen Logic protocol adapters. You simply type the protocol adapter number in, and it put it on a grid, kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. It wasn't very interactive, but it did give you real-time viewing of those pools. Rodney and I are lucky enough to work with a lot of really cool people at Pentair. And one of them is Israel, who is our app and some of our website product manager. And he took that Screen Logic remote monitoring, and he used a lot of what we liked with it, how it gridded out the customers, allowed you to see 20, 30 pools at once, every single aspect of that pool. And he made it interactive, where you can simply scroll your mouse over any pump and it tells you what RPM or GPM it's doing, it tells you its watt consumption, it tells you whether it's heating or not with colored flames. You can see real-time ORP, pH, tank levels, salt levels, literally every aspect of the pool, as long as you have, an IntelliCenter or these devices. You could see this from afar, from your office, from your phone, from your tablet. No matter where you're at, you're in constant connection with your customers' pools in their backyards. It's absolutely next level to be able to sit in your office and get a phone call that, one thing about our industry is that they say that there's emergencies. I'm a big believer that there's no emergencies. There's just people that aren't very patient. But you'll get that emergency phone call from a customer saying, this is bad and I need you to come out here right now. And that happens almost every day in our industry, right? Now, imagine looking up at the monitor and being like, all right, Frank's going out to the Johnson residence. You know what? The Johnson residence looks perfect. He has plenty of chemicals in his tanks. Everything looks great. His GPM, he's moving really good water. He's up to temperature. There's really no problems. Let's divert him from the Johnson residence and have him go take care of this emergency. We'll take care of the Johnsons in a couple of days when we get back to that area. That just makes you more efficient, better at your jobs, and you're able to tackle more with less employees. So I have companies right now that have embraced our remote monitoring to a point where they have TVs mounted in their service departments, and they have all of their pools on the TV where they can see it at a glance all times of the day, peeking at it. You can set these up so they prioritize alarms. So if something happens, it will shoot to the top of the page. And now at this point, you can say, oh my gosh, we got to get out to this house, out to Mrs. Jones' house right now. You know, we know she has a party every Friday or Saturday, right? So we're always chasing a party. We're always trying to make sure that pool's ready for the weekend. And to be able to see something at a glance is very, very, it makes you very efficient. It makes you very profitable with your service department. So just identifying, you know, little tiny problems. In pools, small problems become big problems in a matter of a couple of days. If that chlorine level is 0 and it's 100 degrees outside, you don't have very long before it's going to look like the pond on the other side of the pool, right? So we want to make sure we can get on top of those kinds of issues as fast as possible. And remote monitoring allows us that flexibility. So the other thing is that customers really enjoy or really like having that safety blanket that you're looking out for them, even when you're not in their backyard, right? So I have companies that charge for this as part of their weekly service programs. They say, you know, since you're on IntelliCenter, we can offer you remote monitoring as an addition to your weekly service charge. Well, we will make sure and guarantee that everything is always correct with your pool. We'll make sure that when we come out to your house, if you needed a bag of salt, we can bring that with us. We can make sure that we bring the right chemicals for it. Or the other cool thing is you can see if their master temp heater, if it's set up to be a connected heater or heat pump through RS-45, we can see an error code remotely. We can see pump error codes remotely, which allows us to bring the right parts, send the right tech, and you know, set aside the right time for the job so that we can make sure that we're going to handle everything that we need to do in one trip. Really, that's what we're trying to do here. Is we want to make sure that we're not going back, making multiple trips, going to the SCP or wherever you buy your products, you know, and then back to the job. That gets really expensive, and then it also makes sure that you're going to be late for any events in the evening if you can't get all your work done. So, and my favorite thing about remote monitoring is that sometimes when there's an issue, you can fix it from your desk, from your phone. You can simply connect to the system and turn the pump up. You can change a set point on a IntelliChem or on an IntelliChlor. You can do all these things right from your desk. And that's probably one of my favorite things, is that you can fix something without sending a guy over there in a truck. So,
hey Jeff, we have a question here from someone that said that they are unable to make changes to customer settings on the Pentair home app. They gave remote monitoring access, but they have no control, just the monitoring. Is there a separate step they need to take to be able to make the changes?
It's a really good question. So when it comes to remote monitoring, when we're setting up an IntelliCenter for the first time, this is how I always recommend that this process takes place. We create the account for the customer on the panel. Then what we do is we grab our cell phone and we log in as though we're the customer with their credentials. You simply navigate down to our settings menu and you'll find manage users in there. And you're going to add a user. And what you're going to do is you're going to add your company. Your company should have an IntelliCenter account. If they don't, you can create it at this point. If you do have it, you simply invite yourself as a user. Then you go to your email and you attach it to your account. When you log in, you're going to see all of your customers at once. Now, if you're connecting to the customer's account locally, you may not have access to change anything if you're on site. My recommendation is to always, when you log in remotely. That will allow you the ability to make any kinds of changes, change pump speeds, whatever you'd like to do. But Adding yourself as a user is the correct path to doing this. That way you only have to remember your email and your password and not the customer's. Customer can change their password anytime they want. So when you log in, you're going to see all of your customers' accounts all right underneath. Just make sure that if you're on their Wi-Fi for whatever reason, that you select the remote option that will allow you to change it. And if that doesn't, reach out to one of your Pentair reps or Rodney or I. We'll walk you through it. Something might be just off a little bit.
Yep. And also I'll add, there are certain products that we do not in the Pentair Pro app. The Pentair Pro app will control IF3, our new IntelliFlow, IntelliConnect, ColorSync, other products. ColorSync you can't go through remote monitoring, however. But those products you can view, and then you can simply call that customer and say, I can see what the problem is here, Mrs. Jones. You've set the schedule to run your pump 2 hours a day. That's why your pump's not running any longer. So we do have the view ability of any of the products that or actually the main products in the Pentair Pro app, which would be IntelliConnect and the IF3. Those are really the main products that you would want to kind of maybe look at what's going on.
Awesome. Any other questions?
We have so many questions.
Do we? All
I'll
right.
let Anna interject since she is the Pentair expert here.
We have one more question on remote monitoring, and then we can move on. Just a moment. I was just typing an answer to another question here. How do you add multiple customers with IntelliCenters to your phone or computer? Does that make sense?
Yeah, very simple. When you're setting up these panels for the first time, kind of like I said earlier, we want to make sure that the panel is set up underneath the customer's email address. So the panel is basically named the customer's email, and then we log in with that information that we created. So the email and the password that we use to create the account. And that's when we add ourselves as a user. We invite ourselves to be a user on the panel. When you select the manage users and add user, when we add ourselves as a user, there's an option to select access level. That access level can either be admin or guest. And to the previous question, that's the other thing I would check, is to make sure you weren't added as a guest. That would prevent you from being able to make changes on the IntelliCenter. I hope that helps. Please let me know if you have another question on that.
Thank you. Let's keep going.
All right. All right. Next slide. Plant the seed to see sales grow. There's something we like to say up here is to gain sales, sometimes it's like planting seeds, and you have to be a little bit patient. Simply just pointing something out to a customer, they might not buy it right now, but then they get that bonus check, or they think about it over the weekend, or they talk to their buddy that has one. That's the best. The next door neighbor, I've said, in our industry is one of the best salesmen in our industry, because he loves what he bought and he's sold on it. So planting seeds is a great sales method, because it's not very pushy, but it gives them all the information that they need to make a good decision. So leverage and automation. Automation also gives us the ability to sell other products, which once we get automation on the pad, we can take a broad look at everything else on the pad, like the pump. Maybe they have a single speed pump, to what Niki said earlier. You guys are going to know that in your app, which is really cool. We used to have to take a separate trip out to the house to learn that. But automation, once you get automation on the pad, you are now kind of planting that seed for other products that can communicate to that automation. So things like IntelliChems for your weekly service customers. An IntelliChem can add a small amount of product plateauing that pH throughout the day, so it never changes. Plateauing that chlorine level throughout the day, which is what we want to keep that pool clear. You know, going to a pool once a week and overshocking it and over adding pH decreaser kind of gives those levels a roller coaster type of effect where they're going up and down all day long. And that's one thing that the IntelliChem gives us, is the ability to just kind of level those off. And being able to communicate with that IntelliChem remotely is pretty darn cool. So it gives you opportunities to sell products like the IntelliChem, like the IntelliFlow pump if they have a single speed pump. The other thing is, you know, take a look at the filter. Even though we can't yet automate a filter, yeah, when that does happen, I promise you, Pentair will probably be the first company to ever do it. But take a look at the filter. I see a lot of mist-sized filters in our industry. I see a lot of 3 horsepower IntelliFlow 3 pumps with filters that can only handle 60 gallons a minute. And if you know anything about the IntelliFlow 3 pumps, it can move well over 100 gallons a minute. So if your customer goes to 3450 or 100% output on the IntelliFlow 3 pump, you now have a safety concern in the backyard that we need to be aware of. And also, we can use that as a sales method of, this isn't safe. This filter is not sized appropriately for this pump. It's something that I train on all the time, is that we don't size a filter to the pool, we size a filter to the pump. We want to make sure that the pump, the filter can handle the pump's maximum speed. Now, in the IntelliFlow 3, we do have the ability to set a max speed or flow, which is really cool. How many pool guys do that? I hope they all do, but it's uncommon that they go into those settings and they set a maximum. With a TR60 filter, one of the most sold filters on planet Earth, that can only handle 60 gallons a minute. And if you put a pump that moves 100 gallons a minute through it, you could relocate the lid of that filter into the neighbor's yard and create a new water feature on the pad that not a lot of people would like to see happen. So it becomes dangerous. So point those things out. They will help you. Getting on the pad with automation allows you these kinds of opportunities. If you have a heat pump, if you have a master temp heater, we can upgrade those to communicate with RS-45, which will give us that ability to see these error codes remotely. And that it really, really does help with all that. And keep in mind that Pentair is, I don't think anybody can even compete with us with helping you guys in the backyard. I have a saying in my territory that I will not allow you to fail with our products. And it calls my dealers call me and they say, hey, Jeff, I'm going to install my first upgrade kit. Will you come help me? And I will fit it into my schedule every single time and show them how to be profitable with our products. It is a thing that we say up here, is that we will not allow you to fail. And I know that every single area, every territory within Pentair, within the US, within the world, has the exact same philosophy, is that we have your back. We will not allow you to fail. We want to show you the easiest ways to do this stuff so that you are profitable. The other thing, the other question I get a lot is online sales. And the thing that everybody needs to understand about buying this stuff online is that we only warranty the parts. We will not warranty anything labor related, because most of the time you're looking at an installation error, a homeowner that decided to buy something online, try to do it himself. Usually they wire something wrong, something happens. That kind of stuff we don't warranty, because when we put it in the box, it didn't have a big burn mark in the back of the circuit board, for example. So just know that we do have your back. I have dealers all the time that make small mistakes, and I bail them out because I wanted them to learn a lesson, but I didn't want it to hurt their bottom line right away. So there's a lot of forgiveness with Pentair, and I think I seriously think we have the best rep force in the industry, and I don't even know if that's comparable. Let's see what we got. The next slide is what's in the box. So kind of the cool thing about the IntelliCenter upgrade kit is that it comes, everything you need is in one box. Okay. Now, the first thing that you'll see that it comes with is a new transformer. I'm going to grab this out of the swimming pool. There we go. All right. So it has a brand new transformer. The difference is that we changed our voltage configuration ever so gently. Our IntelliTouch and Easy Touch transformer had a 12, 18, and 24 volt coming out of it. We took the 12 volt away. It's a little less reliable, and we got a lot more power that we have to transfer with a big color touchscreen, so on and so forth. So we simplified it to 18 and 24 volts. The high voltage side of the transformer wires up the exact same way as the old transformer. So they're the same color wires. They can go into the breaker and the neutral bar the exact same way as the old one. So you're really just replacing like for like. If somebody sent you to a pad and said, change out this transformer, you wouldn't have any problem with it if you're an experienced tech. I saw on the poll that was posted earlier that the overwhelming majority of you guys that are on this call have a lot of experience with automation. That's really good to see, because it really is our future. And the companies that are embracing this stuff are the companies that are going to be successful, in my opinion. The other part that comes with it is a brand new board and bezel. So this whole thing can come right off the old one. You take it off, the Easy Touch or IntelliTouch. And here's your brand new circuit board attached to the bezel, so you don't have to do anything crazy there. The one thing a lot of people don't know is that you don't have to do all the low voltage wiring. These blocks simply pull right off the board. I don't know if you can see that. The wires will be attached to the old one and simply plug them right back into the new board. So you're gonna unplug and plug in. That's all you're doing. Now, I do recommend that during this time, you maybe clean up some of the wiring if it's starting to get frayed or it looks like it just needs to be reconnected. But if all the wiring looks good, simply just reconnect it to the circuit board and move on your way. It's the same size block for the temperature sensors. It's the same size block for the RS-45. The heater 2-wire block is the exact same. Simply pull it off the old board, plug it into the new one. The relays, all the auxiliaries, all plug in to the same exact style connection. Everything is the same. It really could not be easier to install this board and bezel and the transformer. And the last big thing that it comes with is the 900 megahertz internet connection kit. Connecting to the internet with pool automation has never been easier than this. You do not need to know a Wi-Fi address or password or any of that. You simply go in the house, you plug this side into the modem, plug it into a wall outlet. That side of the equation's done. This side, simply wire it up. It's powered through the Ethernet cable, and these two act as though they are an invisible Cat5 cable. This sends an invisible Cat5 cable over to this guy, which is received by the board, and you're connected to the internet with ultra fast internet connectivity. It is absolutely amazing. This is a game changer in our industry. When we launched the IntelliCenter, we had this ingenious Wi-Fi antenna. And if you had a problem with the IntelliCenter, it was always Wi-Fi related back in that day. And one of the greatest things we did about a year later is we came out with this antenna, which just took all the fear out of automation. Because now you're not asking them what the Wi-Fi password is and trying to make it all work. This is far superior. So all the cables, all the wires are in there. There's new stickers. So you can label appropriately. You have a new schematic for the door. There's new low voltage breakers. Since we only have the 2 voltages, we are going to take those little 3 amp low voltage breakers out, and we're going to put in a 5 and a 4 amp. The 5 amp goes on the 18 volt side, and the 4 amp goes on the 24 volt side, and all the instructions are right in there. You really can't mess it up. So super simple, everything in one box. Now, when you look at this little card with all the part numbers on it, we basically, if you take the expansion panels out for the time being, we have basically 6 part numbers that are going to do the vast majority of your swimming pools. The first question I always ask people is, how old is the old load center? And if you notice, it has 3 little on the older style, it has 3 little low voltage breakers in the upper right hand corner. It's a very easy way to tell. That would be the older style. The new style is the 2 stacked on top of 2, the 4 low voltage breakers. So if you know how old the load center is, and you know what you're trying to control, be it a pool spa combo, or a pool spa dual equipment, it's that simple. I-10 pool, I-10 pool spa, I-10D for dual equipment. You can get the right one. Now, all of these upgrade kits are also ready to go for 10 auxiliaries. It was a way that we sized automation for years is you have a Easy Touch 4 and Easy Touch 8. With the IntelliTouch, we went all the way up to 10. So we didn't want you to have to order your upgrade kits based on how many auxiliaries you had. So what we did is we put the daughter card on every single circuit board to get you up to 10 in case you needed all 10 auxiliaries. So that's pretty sweet that no matter what, you're going to be able to control it. The only difference between the I-10 pool and the I-10 pool spa combo is the daughter card that slides onto here. So if you do mess it up, it's just the daughter card differential that you're changing. Everything else about the upgrade kit is the exact same as all the other upgrade kits.
So Jeff, I think you're saying, so really the only thing you need to know is, does it have the 3 breakers or the 2 on top of each other, which tells you if it's a 2 on top of each other, it's the newer one. If it's a 3, it's the older one. And then you need to know whether it's a pool or a pool spa, which is going to be pretty evident, right?
How old is the load center? What are you controlling? Those are the only 2 questions you need to ask. And, you know, my favorite way, Rodney, to determine how old the load center is how many of those stainless steel hasps are holding the door to the load center. If there's 2 of them, that's the old style, the legacy style load center. If there's only 1 in the middle, that's the common load center that we currently have been selling since 2012. And I'll tell you, the vast majority of the automation systems out there that are swimming pool only are going to be 2012 and current, because that's kind of when just pool only really started taking off. The vast majority of the older systems are going to be the dual, which was only IntelliTouch that had that capability, or some of the pool spa combo easy touches, which Rodney alluded to earlier, was the reason why automation started taking off in our industry, was the control pool spot combination. So yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. We are at time. I do want to be mindful that that some of our guests may have to go. And if you do, we will send the recording out to you tomorrow with a bunch of the resources that we discussed today, including the sales kit, a promo offer from Skimmer, and the deck and the recording. If you'd like to stick around, I will stick around with Jeff and Rodney and Anna to answer more of your questions and to complete the presentation.
Should I speed it up a little bit, Niki?
That would be wise, Jeff.
Okay, let's move on. Installation is very, very simple. You know, step 1, I always say before you do anything, before you take anything apart, just understand your pool, understand what you're trying to control. A lot of guys will take photos with their cell phone of pump speeds and circuits and circuit functions and stuff like that. Some guys will write it down on a notebook just so that they have all that documentation before they unwire everything. Now, if you're adding an upgrade kit because lightning struck it and it is a pile of ash, you're going to have to reset this up like it's a brand new pool, and you'll just have to go and wing it a little bit. So not a big deal. Step 2, and I can't stress this enough, don't do this with the power on. Please turn the power off, not only for your safety, but also for the safety of the equipment. The transformer and circuit board can be replaced in a matter of 10 minutes. It really does not take that long. I've had a guy do these whole upgrade kits from the time they pulled into the driveway to the time they're leaving in less than a half an hour. So average time's about an hour though. So once you replace the transformer and circuit board, you're going to want to install the internet connection kit, which is the internet kit that I was showing you a little bit ago. After you do that, make sure you remove any of your old wires for antennas or screen logic system or an indoor control panel or a wireless controller. Oftentimes I see these get left, and what happens is they end up shorting out the RS-45 bus on the board because they're touching each other and stuff like that. So make sure you remove any of that old stuff. We don't need that there. It won't work with the new system, okay? After that, go back to the panel, turn the power back on, and programming is very, very simple. Rodney alluded to this earlier, that you can use a thumb drive. And right now, we're shipping all of our panels with our latest firmware. So updating the firmware unless you get an old one is kind of a thing of the past right away. From this point on, all of our products in the field are going to be able to be OTA'd, over the air updated from the internet, which makes it really, really easy to install. So, all right. That brings us to resources.
So I'll take over here from here, Jeff. We offer lots of opportunities to educate yourself on Pentair product, and we have Pentair universities all across the nation. I encourage you to go to our Pentair website, www.pentair.com. You can go choose the pool part and look up Pentair pool universities. We got them all over the place, and there would be one coming to a place near you. If there is not, we also offer we have regional training centers that we're doing trainings weekly there. So get in touch with your salesperson or Jeff, your service manager in your area, and they can tell you about any kind of upcoming educational opportunities at even our regional training centers. And
awesome.
You want to move to the next slide there.
Yeah.
Rebate opportunities that Jeff's mentioned a little bit. The IntelliCenter upgrade kit, $250 for the dealer for the upgrade kit, and $500 for the homeowner. So as it says, $250 in your pocket for the IntelliCenter upgrade kit, $500 in their pocket, in the homeowner's pocket, for installation, to help, with the cost of installation for the upgrade kits. The IntelliCenter Lite, which I mentioned, is new, and we have a $250 rebate until December 31st on that. And the old, if you have any old IntelliCenter Lights still in distribution that you find, there's a $375 rebate on those. So lots of good rebates going on at the end of the year. I want to just encourage you to be looking and get educated and look for these rebates. To make it easy for you, we've put a list of the resources you saw here today. You can even click on the QR code, and they're available at pentair.com/upgrade kit hub. And we will provide you, I think we're going to provide Niki a link for some of these resources. Is that correct?
That is correct. We will include them in the follow-up email. And we've got I believe, a Skimmer offer after this slide as well. If you are not using Skimmer and you would like to try it, anyone who is attending this webinar or views this after the fact can try it for free. We've got a great support team. We have end-to-end management for billing, route management, keeping your techs held accountable in the field, and also increasing your customer communication and loyalty. We've got a more than just software and support too. As I mentioned earlier, we have a new community called the Pool Deck. It is free for any pool professional to join, whether you are a Skimmer customer or not. We have tons of workshops and training opportunities, and it's a great place to connect with other pros. We also have a bunch of free resources on our webpage on the resources tab. Free tools to help you increase prices with email templates and a calculator. We've got marketing resources. We've got an entire guide on growing your business if you're thinking about 2025 and planning for growth in the new year. So feel free to check out our website. Again, there's free resources there. And if you're not a Skimmer customer, we invite you to try it for free for 30 days. And with that, I think we just, for those of you that are still with us, thank you so much. There are still tons of you still with us here. We've got the Upgrade Kit Hub resources. Did you want to quickly talk through those?
You can scan this QR code here. It's got a sales kit on there, installation videos, remote monitoring videos, a selection card to help you with that upgrade kit card that Jeff was showing earlier. Highly encourage you to go visit this for some more resources. And as we wrap up today, remember these key takeaways. Investing in pool automation benefits both you and your customers. And remote monitoring increases efficiency and revenue and leads to happier customers. So embrace the shift towards smarter, connected pool solutions from Pentair. And
absolutely, it's all moving
Niki,
that way. Tech is all
yeah.
moving that way. And before you go, if you could spare just one more moment, we want to do more webinars like this to help you get educated and bring you value and figure out how to help you make more money. What would you like to learn more about in future Pentair webinars? Let us know. We want to keep continuing to bring you great content with our friends at Pentair.
And
Niki, would
yeah.
you like me to hit some of the Q&A?
Yeah, sure. If folks want to stick around, absolutely.
I actually just found the tab to open it up, so now I can see all the questions.
Okay,
so
great.
I'll start right at the top here. From anonymous attendee, when will a dual salt cell transformer be available in the i10? So currently the IntelliChlor or the iChlor cannot be addressed. So we have a brand new salt cell coming out, the IntelliChlor Plus, and it will be here before we know it. We just launched the product about a month ago. The line is ramping up. We should have this product by spring. I'm not going to promise any dates. That new salt cell will be able to be addressable. And with the IntelliCenter, we're going to be able to name one of them pool, one of them spa, and have different percent outputs for each cell, which is really cool. So I'm really excited for this. It's something that I've wanted Pentair to do for years. We will be the first company, to my knowledge, that can address a salt cell and control two of them at once. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Why does the IntelliCenter upgrade have issues with password setting and account making? Have had experience. Okay. So this is from Jonah Falk. So since we did the migration over to the Pentair Home app, there's been some of these issues that's spawn up. Now, on the Pentair Home app, we require 8 characters, uppercase, a lowercase, a number, and a special character. So the new password requirements need to abide by the new password requirements for the Pentair Home app. And that's the biggest problem I see with creating a new account, is that they're using Pentair 1 without a special character, and it won't register. The other problem I see with account creation is that the homeowner downloads the app before you install it, and then they create an account. And then they don't tell you what that password is, or didn't tell you that they created an account. And then you're trying to create an account with a different password, and it tells you your password doesn't match. So I see that happen a lot. A little pre-conversation with your customer can get you around that, just simply by saying, hey, hold off on creating an account. You can download the app if you want, but I'm going to give you a password that you're going to use for your first login, which makes it a lot easier if you just create the account on your panel, then give the keys to the homeowner to drive the car from there. Let's see, can you run the i3 via internet without IntelliCenter being present via the app? Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things about the IntelliFlow 3 that we did, is that it comes with built-in automation just with the just on the pump. And you can, if you don't have any other automation present, we do have the ability to flick 2 switches at the same time, which is really cool. You can do color lighting, you can do booster pump, you can do whatever you want. You can wire into the other switch. That's an optional upgrade to have the IO board installed in the pump, which is kind of cool. So comes with built-in automation right with the pump. Let's see, where do you go to make a company account to add to a customer account? Okay, so if you don't have a company account, after you set up your first IntelliCenter, the easiest way is to invite your whatever email address you want to use for your company account. And then instead of hit existing account when you go through this process, you're just going to create an account right there, right then and there. And from there, you have your own IntelliCenter account that you can add any customer to, making it really, really easy for you going forward, because you're just going to use existing account after that when you hit the link. So yeah, your first customer, once you set up your first customer, that's going to be really, really easy for you to do. Just invite yourself. So what if a customer decides to not have you as a pool service anymore? Is there a way to disconnect my company? Yes. The name of the panel, the email address that's on the panel, has the ability to remove you at any time. You can also delete the system from your account. No big deal. It's very forgiving like that. It's not going to delete any of the customers' settings or savings or anything that's on there. So you're free to just disconnect that from your account. So, and reach out to your field rep like me in the field. We can walk you through that if you're having a problem getting to that. So does the installer always use the Pro app and the customer use the regular Pentair app for their own use? So for the IntelliCenter, you're going to use the Pentair Home app just like the customer does. The Pentair Pro app, if you want to think about it and kind of simplify what it's for, the Pentair Pro app is for setting up brand new IntelliFlow 3s, and it's also for pro monitoring of any Pentair Home product. It's not going to monitor the IntelliCenter though. Yeah, the IntelliConnect, you can view stuff on the IntelliConnect from the Pentair Pro app. You can see any existing chem checks out there. You can see all the pump setups if you connected them to the internet. You can see all your IntelliFlow 3s, any Pentair Pro app or product you can see from the Pro app. But IntelliCenter, I want you to just use the Pentair Home app. That's where you're going to see all of your IntelliCenters going forward. Are you guys working with pool attendant guys on your software? No, we are not. Rodney, do you have any insight there? I don't think we're best friends right now. So
no comment.
Yeah, all right. In your experience, how do you find the Pentair automation systems helping commercial properties? What is the sales approach? So that's something that has been taking off in my territory a lot, is that there's commercial sites that want to that really want to have this remote connection to their chemistry. And that's what I see more times than not, is that they want to see the IntelliChem unit, they want to see their pH, they want to know if their tanks are empty, they want to see this stuff remotely. So it's all about what do they want to see and when do they want to see it. And that's typically where you see the commercial systems getting the IntelliCenter. A lot of outdoor pools too, like their lights to turn on at certain times and turn off at certain times. And so you see that they use scheduling to turn things on and off all the time too. So,
I think there are some more questions, but we've pretty much used up our time for the webcast. I think we can probably take some of these questions through the chat and answer live. So
okay,
that might be our best bet at this point.
And
no problem.
with that, thank you. Thank you to all of you that are still with us. Thank you, Rodney and Jeff and Anna and TJ, for being the most excellent panelists. And we hope to bring you more of these in the future. Everyone say bye.
Thank you, Niki.
Thank you, guys.